Hej og velkommen derude til endnu et afsnit af Det Lysblå Fællesskab. I dag der kommer afsnittet til at være på engelsk, fordi vi har Big Steve med i podcasten. And hello Big Steve, we'll of course do the rest of this episode in English, so it will be easier for you to answer all the questions we have.
No problem. Thanks, guys, for having me on. Good to be here. Good to see you guys again. And yeah, fire away. No problem.
Perfect. And of course, we also have some from the panel with us. We have Nikolaj, who is starstruck.
Thank you for that. Yeah, hello.
And we have Martin.
Hello.
And then we have Mehmet, who was the one inviting Big Steve to the bank.
Yeah, welcome and thank you for your time about the bank.
Anytime.
So the first question, and that's actually a normal thing we have on this podcast, when somebody has their debut, we always hear how did they become a Manchester City supporter. So what is your story, Big Steve?
Obviously, in Manchester, as you well know, when I was growing up, Manchester City was not the best team like they are now. Manchester United was the big dominating team in the city, but the majority of the people, when I was growing up, the working class people in Manchester always seemed to support City. It was very easy to grow up and choose the red side of Manchester and get a United shirt and go with the flow. My dad, he took me to Main Road, 1988/89. We played Brentford in a League Cup game. And just, I know it sounds a bit like an old cliche, but just getting out of the car and seeing the floodlights peeking over the kipaks and the smell of the hot dogs and the hustle and the bustle. As a young child, I'd never seen anything like that. And he took me into the store, which was very, very tiny store, one way in, one way out, glass cabinet, couple of badges, couple of scarves. It was nothing spectacular. I got a scarf and a badge, and then he took me into the North Stand. And then as soon as I seen the pitch, I mean, you read people these days on books and podcasts, they say when they saw the pitch, and you see the little children sometimes go up the steps, they see the stadium. It was a bit like that for me. I was like, wow, this place is massive. And I always remember, I can't describe it, but I remember that the coming out of the ground, I had a feeling in my body that was like, I don't know what just happened, but I remember holding this scarf so tight and this badge and thinking, wow, can't wait to go in school tomorrow. And I went in school and the United fans were like, yeah, okay, now, well, Man City. But I was like, that was me hooked and obsessed. And then it just become an obsession. And that was me. I was well on the way. I found my path in life. Some of my mates were into the music scene in Manchester, and some lads they go different ways. They go into drugs and they go into crime. Me, I just went full into football, and I always say I found a place where I belong. It didn't care where they was in the league. It didn't care what position they was, whether they had the best stadium, whether they had the best players. I just felt a place where I knew I belonged there. You know what I mean? And I couldn't wait. Every week, just could not wait to go to Main Road. Just couldn't wait.
Yeah,
So
that's a very, very good story of how you, of course, become a fan in when you live in Manchester. But the fun thing you said is this, that going to the schoolyard and everybody has United shirts on. Like, I also think many of us in Denmark had that feeling. I know Nikolaj, he just wanted to be a Manchester City supporter because he didn't want to be like every other person in Denmark who were wearing a red shirt. If it was a Liverpool, United, Arsenal shirt, that's the only shirt you saw. So sometimes it's also you start loving your club more because of the people you're surrounding with, because you just don't want to be one of the masses, maybe.
Yeah, and we obviously my first season, Manchester City just been promoted back to the top division. We played Manchester United at Main Road. We beat them 5-1. So for me, as a school kid, I dined out on that 5-1 a lot. You know what I mean? It was like I thought, yeah, this is it. But it didn't take until modern times for us to really start giving Manchester United a beating. But there was a good band of Man City fans in the school, but we kept ourselves to ourselves. We knew our level. You know, we all traded football cards, and we loved singing City songs and winding Man United fans up and that, and we had a good banter with it. So the childhood was good, but they were just so good, man. They were so good, and it was so easy in Manchester to support them. But we just, I can't tell you how different it is. It's just a sense of humour of Manchester City fans, the way, you know, we'd get absolutely hammered and we'd say, like, we're never coming back again because we're sick of this. But then the next week we'd be back there again. And you could never tear yourself away from it, because there was always this hope that one day something will happen. You know what I mean? One day you've got to stick with the club through thick and thin. You know, I always say it's easy to judge football fans when your club's doing well. You go every week, it's nice. Judge a football club when your club's doing bad. Not fifth, sixth, seventh in the Premier League, like League One. You know what I mean? Like bad. And to get 30,000 at Main Road week in, week out, backing a group of players who are probably the worst players in our history at the club, but we love them more than probably the modern day players. But we just thought, you know what, we're here now. We're going to back them to the death, no matter what happens. To get behind them, and it was tough. You know, there was times when people would look at you and say, "What? You know, are you coming to this gig at weekend? We're all going to this amazing gig. We're going out all day on the beer with the guys. Are you coming?" And I'm like, "No, we're playing Macclesfield." And they're like, "Who?" And I'm like, "We're playing Macclesfield." And they're like, "So you're going to miss this gig to go and watch that?" And I'm like, yeah, that's just me. That's what I do. And that's how we did it. And had some amazing times. A lot of the best times following Manchester City were in the second division. It was a big team. Every small village and city was expecting Manchester City to come. You had to learn how to fight as well, because you get off the train and everyone is waiting for you. They've been waiting all week. So, you know, the Manchester lads had to learn how to have a scrap. But we were a big fish in a small pond. Everybody wanted to take us. So it was good. And them days were, I speak to my kids now, my sons, I tell them, like, they were so good. Absolutely brilliant. It was like life was just, it wasn't real life. It was just a game. You go to work to earn the money to spend that weekend drinking beer and going to all these crazy places with your friends. You never had a train. You missed a lift. You get on a coach. You stay the night somewhere you don't know. You meet people. You go to parties. And then the next Tuesday night, you're in another city somewhere else drinking. You miss work. It was just all watching this football team. That wasn't very good. It was good, man. It was good.
Can I ask you one thing, Steve?
Yeah.
I'm really nervous about. I think it was tough to be a Manchester City fan as in 19s, because the Manchester United was really big team. Manchester United and Liverpool. The Liverpool is neighbor. And now today I see a lot of young people have City jerseys, and we see a lot of City fans. How is it in Manchester right now? I think maybe you can confirm that the 19th, everybody talk about United, and now they talk about City. Or is it still United in Manchester? Who is
No.
in not from tourists, but only Manchester people? Who is
No, I
from
mean,
you the biggest
yeah,
fan
I
base?
mean, what Manchester City have done, there's a lot more shirts around Manchester now. Obviously, there's this generation of children the last 20 years growing up.
Mm,
A lot of them have gone to Manchester City. So it's like the other side of the coin. You know, they see Man United as not, Manchester City's the way to go. Haaland, De Bruyne, Yaya Toure, Sergio
mm,
Aguero, David Silva, all these superstars playing in blue. You know, the kids want to play, the kids growing up, they want to see that. Yeah, I feel like the Derby day sometimes switched a little bit now. Like, Manchester United have not finished above Manchester City for 12 years. They're struggling in the league. Manchester City are winning the league. We used to, if we won the Derby game and finished mid-table, we'd be happy. That was a good season. We beat Man United. I feel like that's them now. If they beat
mm,
Manchester City and finish sort of okay, they're happy. Even though they
mm,
claim They don't care about Manchester City. They claim they don't, Manchester City is irrelevant. Liverpool is the big game. But that's very easy to do that because they know that Manchester City are better than them. So it's easy to call that, oh, we don't really care about you. Well, if anyone's seen them win the FA Cup, they definitely cared about us then. You thought they won the Champions League. If anyone's seen them win the derby 2 weeks ago, it didn't look like a team that didn't care to me. So it's all banter. It's all good stuff. But there's a hell of a lot more City shirts around the city now than you'd seen in the 90s. But that just comes with the territory of winning.
But what about the old generation? Because I hear a lot in Denmark, Manchester City only have kids fans.
No,
But every time I'm in Etihad, I can if you can remember Bjørn, I tell in the Manchester derby, I say, look how many old men they are in Etihad. But what about the old generation? Who's most?
Yeah.
If you're gonna choose one.
Well, the older generation of Manchester City fans, we were used to watching shit football. Now we're watching good football, so we're happy.
Yeah.
The older
Yeah.
generation of Man United fans, we're used to watching good football. They're now watching shit football, so they don't go to the match anymore. They go shopping with their wives. Yeah, pretend they don't like the football anymore. So
Okay.
there's plenty of old school Manchester City fans still there. Plenty of good old school fans there. But Manchester City have got a hardcore following deep in the club. They always will have that. If they fell 2 divisions next couple of seasons, you'd still get the hardcore 30, 40,000 will still be there. The Etihad now, as you well know, a lot of people want to come and watch Manchester City. They want to watch Haaland. They want to watch all the players. So you get the tourists coming to the club. When I was growing up, Manchester United was very much a tourist club, and they used to get a lot of stick off the City fans for being that. We're the locals, you're the tourists, etc., etc. One thing, Manchester City, when Sheikh Mansour bought the club, the fans were worried a little bit that we didn't want to go this way. I feel like you can have a balance, but you've got to always keep the root of the club there, because what you will get, the tourists will come. They will spend £500-600 every game. Brilliant for the club financially. That's what you want. But a lot of them, if the club fell on real hard times, a lot of them would probably just sort of step back a bit and maybe disappear. Not everyone. Some, obviously, like yourselves, you love the club, you'd be there. But so City are trying to find the balance now between the local fans and the tourist fans, and trying to make sure it doesn't cause a split and a divide. And it's very tough to do. It's not easy to do it. When you're winning, I feel like everyone's okay. We're all happy. When you're losing, people like to blame other things. They like to blame these fans that come. We can't get a ticket. The fans can't do this. But it's a bit of nonsense. You can get a ticket if you want to get a ticket, but people just like to moan in Manchester sometimes. But that's the way it is.
I want to ask one question more. Sorry, Bjørn, and that after that you guys will come to.
No problem.
About Sheikh Mansour. I want to really know about how it is in Manchester. Because we have a club in Denmark. One rich man come and buy, and everybody's angry about that because we are local club, we're not a buying club, something like that. What was the atmosphere in Manchester City fan base after Sheikh Mansour told, "I want to buy Manchester City"?
Well, it happened so quickly because we before Sheikh Mansour, we had Thaksin Shinawatra, who was the Thai Prime Minister. He bought the club, and we bought some new players. Sven-Goran Eriksson came in. We thought that maybe we'd turn the corner. It turned out that he didn't have a lot of money, and we were struggling a little bit. Local businessmen had to help him, save him. But then he sold the club to Sheikh Mansour. Now, the Manchester City mindset at the time when Sheikh Mansour bought it was, this has got to be not real. This guy's got to be a fake sheikh. He's got to have no money. Why is he buying Manchester City? Because he doesn't, But then that night we signed Robinho, and then I think everybody thought, oh shit, this is real. This guy's got some serious money. And then what they did was they came in and they told the fans what they were going to do, how they were going to do it. They were going to do this, they were going to do that, they were going to get Manchester City to the top table, and everything they said they were going to do, they did. So everybody in Manchester, on the blue side of Manchester, loves Sheikh Mansour, Khaldoon. We love them, you know what I mean? They haven't came to this football club and took money out like the Glazers and saddled the club with debt and used the club as a leverage to buy other things and take dividends. They've came in and made Manchester City Football Club a monster, and they've given us the best times we could ever see. They've backed us every year, and the only mistake that the Sheikh Mansour Khaldoon ever made it was trying to join the Super League. When they tried to join the Super League, the fans just said, no, come on, guys. You guys have been here for 20 years and you've always consulted the fans with what you was going to do. Except this Super League, you went ahead and said, yeah, we're going to do it. They quickly backtracked it, apologised, and the relationship with the club, the fans, and Sheikh Mansour, he's fantastic. But obviously, we have a cloud over the club at the minute. The 115 charges is there. We can't get rid of it. The fans have always backed the chairman and Mansour. We're always going to back him because we've got no reason to. But somebody asked me, what if there is a problem? And okay, I'll answer it. What if there is a problem? Then we've got a problem, because then we've got to then ask Sheikh Mansour and Khaldoon what's going on. And it's going to be an uncomfortable situation. This is why I'm hoping it's all under control. We don't have that problem. And the club has behaved how it needed to behave, and we'll get rid of whatever needs to be, clears its name, and we move forward.
How are your feelings with the charges? Because I'm starting to believe that it's probably gonna be okay for us.
Yeah, well, I think it's. I don't think anybody knows the real truth or the real reasons. I think there's a lot of speculation. I feel like the rest of the world would love us to be relegated or, charged with some great crimes. But you're looking around the Premier League at the minute, and a lot of people are failing financial fair play. There's a lot of people failing PSR rules. They're getting fines, etc., etc. You look at Manchester City, and it does look like the charges are a lot of financial things where we've not handed accounts in on time, or we've not give paperwork over, etc., etc. Seems like it's a lot of Manchester City just poking the Premier League a little bit, and bending the rules a little bit. I don't think it's a massive scale like we're seeing in Italy, where teams were bribing officials and referees and going to get relegated and things. I don't think it's like that, but I feel like people are trying to spin it like that because of the number 115. Wow, 115, it's massive. You must be guilty of 115 charges. We know that's not the case. So I feel like we've all, as fans, we've just got to stick to what we are. We're fans. We're not lawyers. We're not financial experts. We're there to support our football club. And all we can do, I feel, is to back the football club. And if Khaldoon comes out and says, we look forward to giving our irrefutable evidence in court, then I'm backing Khaldoon. So anything Khaldoon has ever said in the past, I've trusted him and he's been right. So if a man of the integrity of Khaldoon, Mubarak and Sheikh Mansour say, we look forward to giving the evidence, then you've got to back them. You know what I mean? Other fans don't like it. They want us to be cheating and all that. They're all internet lawyers now. We've seen them all. But the facts are they're not. They're football fans like me and you, and we're not paid to talk about finances because we ain't got a clue. So I just think we've got to keep backing the team, keep moving forward, and let the lawyers clear the cloud.
Of those fans we have gotten from into the podcast from other clubs, like it's only the big six who really want us to go down with a big bang. All the others, they are like, but every time there is like an era, a club has an era of winning a lot, it has how do you say it? It is because of a big investment from outside. So all of this, for example, in the 70s with Paisley, it was also because they used a lot of money in Liverpool and they got that era. So many are also like, why is this so different? And that's also a bit of a discussion.
It's jealousy. A lot of it's jealousy. Every other club is begging for money, begging for signings, begging for success. It's happening with us. We've been on an incredible journey. Pep Guardiola has took us into the promised land, from the trebles to the doubles to the 4 in a row. Do you know what I mean? Centurions. These things are unique things in English football history that we've got to experience as Manchester City fans. These are things that, growing up in Manchester, the treble was spoke about like it was the holy grail of football, that it could never be achieved. Manchester United fans sing a song about you'll never win 3 in a row. We won 4 in a row. So everything that they class as the Holy Grail has been destroyed by the team they don't care about across the road. So for us, it's fantastic. And, are we getting the credit for it? Probably not. Is it easy to throw the charges at us? 100%. But there's one thing for certain. All the kids around the world are growing up with Erling Haaland on the back of his shirt. And Yaya Toure and Kun Aguero and Pep Guardiola. They're not talking about Johnny Evans and, Kobe Mainoo. It's not happening. So we're doing what we're doing. And there's one thing for certain. This football club will not let the standards drop. We've had a bad season this season. It's not been where we want to be. But we will put it right. Sheikh Mansour, Khaldoon will not let it drop. So if we have to take a season on the chin, we'll take it. You know what I mean? We'll take it. And we'll be back next season ready to go. So this is why I say to rival fans, if you want to get laughing and start making fun, this is the season to do it, because I can assure you it won't last long. Won't last long.
Now I think we'll open up for Nikolaj. You also got some questions.
Oh, I got many. Sorry. Yeah, as you know, Big Steve, I'm a huge supporter of you, so it was kind of nervous for me to be here. I have a lot of questions, but I've cooked it down to 3 questions. 2 of them I'm dying to hear about. So the first one is, how is it to be a citizen with a ticket holder and, traveling around the UK and away in Europe? That would be a kind of special atmosphere to be a away supporter in Europe. I mean, Bjørn has been a Brøndby supporter many years, and 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, he was always an away supporter traveling around Denmark. There's a special thing about it. I wonder why, not wonder why, but I would love to hear about your story. How is it to be so close to the club, seeing every match, being a away supporter with all the other away supporters, and seeing in Europe especially the different cultures and different stadiums, all of that? What is your story about that? How is it?
No, it's fantastic. I mean, when I was a teenager, my friends were supporting Manchester United. They were going to all the European games, Ajax, Honved. They were going all over the world watching Manchester United, and we were bumming it local in the 2nd division, so we were only in Manchester. So always craved it, always craved the Bernabeu, craved the new camp, always wanted to go to Naples, always wanted to go to Rome, always wanted to do these things. And it came at a time when obviously I'm a lot older, I'm working, I've got my family and stuff, and I had to make a sacrifice. I don't know, I said it on my podcast, I'm 5 years sober now, so I haven't drank for 5 years. I feel like if I was drinking, I don't think I could do half the games, because, you go to the game, you have a few drinks, and then the next day you're feeling a bit sore, and then you got to go again and get a flight. And I mean, this last week I've been to Dubai, Brentford, Ipswich, Luton, Paris, back to Manchester. If I was drinking, it's not going to happen. I fell asleep at the wheel on Friday on the motorway, nearly killed myself, and that was with no drink. So it gets tough physically and mentally, because in between, people are wanting me to do podcasts and talk about the experience, which, YouTube is not, it's not that important to me. I don't earn my money from YouTube. I do it to let the fans know how we're getting on, where we are, gives a little bit of an insight into what we're doing, a few videos on the Instagram of the stadium and the atmosphere. I feel like it helps people feel involved and they feel a part of it. So, for that reason, I try to do it. But, I mean, it's fantastic. And the memories I've had with these lads who I've grown up with, and, friends from the 2nd division, to be, I've stood in the rain at Barnsley and stood in the sun in the Bernabeu with the same people. And that is what makes football so special, that I can enjoy the lowest and the shittest football you can imagine in the rain with my friends, and then see Rodri score in Istanbul to win the treble with the same friends. So this is why people can call Manchester City, but the journey we've been on together as human beings, it won't be beaten. you know, I've seen my friends, and they've seen me in the lowest times. They've also seen me in the highest times. And, you know, supporting the football club, it's for me is my life. You know, it's what I chose to do. And it's hard. People think it's great, but physically getting on planes, trains, cars, doing a bit of work in between, it's not easy. But, you know, I'm not going to moan about it. There's a lot more people worse than me. But it's fantastic, and it's been a great journey. And I've just it's been a pleasure to be on that journey, you know what I mean? And like you say, meeting so many people like you guys, come to Manchester from Denmark. I came to see you. I've met people from, there's a guy flew from Chicago to Paris. He flies from Chicago every week to watch Manchester City. He works for United Airlines. He's got cheap flights. The guy will fly into Arsenal, watch the match, fly back to Chicago in 22 hours. So there's people doing this kind of crazy shit over this football club. So, yeah, it's good, and I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying it.
Oh, great. The next question I'm dying to hear about. This is kind of emotion for me also. I cry every time I see the clip, but you know, probably what I'm going to ask you, the famous Aguero. What was your experience? Was you in the stadium? What was the kind of story about that moment for you? I know my moment. I have,
look, my
yeah,
hair.
goosebumps. Yeah, I cry every time.
No, look,
Yeah.
Aguero.
Yeah, it's oh man, beautiful.
But,
what is your story about that time?
Well, I always say to people, the game before Newcastle away, we got to Newcastle in the morning. We got into the pub in Newcastle. I was drinking at the time, so we were having a few pints. Lots of City fans in the pub, but nobody was saying anything. It was very quiet. I think people were nervous because the league had gone. You know, weeks before we were 8 points behind. It was finished. But then obviously United slipped up. We won at the derby. Vincent Kompany the header. We go to Newcastle, who I think had beat United in the week. Very nervous game, St. James's Park. So nervous. Remember, the nerves that it was feeling was horrible. Like, made me feel ill. And then Yaya Toure, he turns up, he scores 2 goals. That was the first time I'd ever heard the Manchester City fans sing, "We're going to win the league. And now you're going to believe us. Now you're going to believe us. We're going to win the league." The whole end was up. We're going to win the league. It was mental. We come out of St. James's Park. We're walking down. The Newcastle fans are all mingling in between, shaking your hand. "I hope you win the league, guys, next week. Come do it." And I'm thinking, shit, this is real life shit, this. We could win the league next week, beat QPR, win the Premier League. I'm like, fucking hell. So then I had the week then of nerves, like dreaming about losing the league, bottling the league, typical Manchester City headlines, Man City throw away the league. All this going through your head as a City fan because you never won the league before. You don't know what to feel. Gets to the ground on the morning of the game. We meet the boys. You have a breakfast, getting on the drink. I remember a guy coming up to me with a scarf. He said "Champions" on it. I said, "What are you doing with that?" He said, £10, champions. I went, "We're not champions." And he went, "Yeah, but it's QPR. Oh, we're going to be..." I said, "It's Manchester City. You don't understand. Fucking move away from me with the scarf. It's bad luck. Go away." And then we get in the ground. The atmosphere was party time. Like, everyone was so happy and ready to go. We scored the goals, have a let up. No problem. Party time. Then bang. Typical Man City. Bang, bang. 2-1 down. The place has gone flat. Your heart is not normal. What's happening? You're thinking, shit, surely we're not going to let this slip. And then United's winning. And the story goes, my friend, United fan, is at Old Trafford, at Sunderland. I'm sat on my seat with my head in my hands. I'm thinking, we're done. I said to my friend, I can't give this football club any more emotion than I've given it if we can't beat QPR to win the league. I'd well and truly, we say in Manchester, seen my ass. I'd well and truly was really upset about it, yeah? And then Edin Dzeko scored. So it was a bit of fight. Come on, we can do it and all that. But really, deep down, I'm believing, no, the headlines are written. Manchester City have finished, yeah? And then my text message on my phone goes, beep. I looked, it's my friend in Sunderland. He sends in capital letters, "We are the champions." And out of pure pride, because the scoreboard was still showing minutes, I text back, Not yet, you're not. And as I sent it, Balotelli, Aguero, and the ball hit the back of the net. And I've never heard sound like it in a football stadium. It broke the sound barrier. It was like a giant crackle. And my mate grabbed me. I fell on the floor. The people behind fell over us. Everyone was on there. They were crying, tears. People you've known for years, grandmas, granddads. The tears was real in there. It was like you've never seen anything like it. Like I can't describe it to you. It was raw emotion. People running back in. Some people had left. It was crazy. And then we're all holding together, like in just a big ball. Of South Stand was like a big ball of humans just holding each other. Like there was no rows, there was no aisles. It was just everyone was holding, waiting, and then we're waiting for the whistle. And as soon as the whistle went, the full fucking end just went onto the pitch. We were all flying over the advertising boardings. There were grown men sliding on the knees. There was children getting thrown around the fucking place. It was, you've never seen anything like it. Like, it was unbelievable. And it'll be the greatest moment for me I've ever seen in my life. And the party we had afterwards in Manchester City Centre with people in the fountains, the cars were driving past, beeping the horns, flags out the windows, you know, high-rise flats, people partying, DJs going on. It was just like, wow, something had happened. And like you say, Sergio Aguero, of all people, you don't want it to fall to anybody else at that moment. And for him to do that, it will never be beaten, because what it was good as well is it was them. We just basically handed them the title. They had their hands on it, ready to pull it in. And we snatched it back. Fuck off. This is ours now. And that was the way that you couldn't do it any better than that. And to see them all in Sunderland, we love United. And then the big roar where City score, and then the players, it's good. It's a bit of torture for them. And they'll never get over it. They'll never get over it. And we came from, you know, we was not meant to win that league. We bottled it weeks before. We bottled it. It's a Manchester City thing. Manchester City don't do that. Manchester City just give up. But this new Manchester City, we do that. And like you say, I can't describe the feeling. And I wish that Manchester City would release the footage of the CCTV cameras of all the blocks to see the absolute unbelievable mayhem that was there. And yeah, I was privileged to do it, and it was sensational. And I don't think I went in work for about 2 weeks. I just sat at home watching the replay of that game every day.
Can you sleep that night? Be honest.
No. We was out all night. We was everywhere. We were partying. We was in house parties and people's houses. I didn't know. People just invite you in. Come in, we're having a party, and you walk out of someone else's house. There's another house having one down the road. We're having a bit of this, and all Manchester United fans have gone, disappeared, back home, hiding. Life was not worth living. But everybody that went to work the day after, they had a great day. I didn't make it.
That's just football emotions. And also, as I told, every time I see the clip, I'm actually crying, and my wife don't understand it. But why can you cry? It's just sport and just football. It's pure emotion. And I was I think I was 15 back then. I saw it on my TV in my room. It's just that emotion is like locked in me, as you described, Steve. It's so you get goosebumps every time.
It was a relief to finally do it, and then to see them holding the trophy and stuff. It's something we've become accustomed to now. We see it a lot of the time. We invade the pitch. People always say, Man City, why do they always invade the pitch? It's just what we do, man. We've had so many years of shit. We just like to invade the pitch. Let us get on there, get it out of our system for 5 minutes, and then we'll get off. You know what I mean? It's what we do. And but no, the Aguero moment was just sensational. And like you say, it's the best Premier League moment in history for me. It won't be beaten.
Yeah, of course. Then my last question, probably a bit sadness of it, I don't know. But who do you think leaves City in the summer of the players, in the golden era? Maybe De Bruyne, I don't know. But who do you think is going to leave to get, make place for the new generations? Who's the players we're going to say, okay, we're letting you off now?
I feel like with the way the season's gone, and it's not gone to plan, I feel like we've been embarrassed a few times, and the club won't like that. I feel like the freshening up period that usually comes might be excelled a little bit. I think it might be time that we cut a few big names. I can see Gundogan leaving. I can see Kevin De Bruyne leaving. I can see Jack Grealish leaving. I can see John Stones maybe leaving because of the injury record. Kyle Walker's gone. We know that. Edison may leave. So I feel like this will be a big, big summer for the club. I feel like the World Club Cup is coming up as well. We've got that to deal with. But I feel like it depends internally how City feel about everything and whether they are going to risk another drop-off. I don't think they want to do that. So I think sooner rather than later, it might be time to get these players in, to bed them into the squad, get Guardiola working with them sooner rather than later, and make sure that when we start the season, next season, there's no drop-off and we put it right. So, I mean, it's all speculation at the minute, and we never want to see players go. I don't. You look back over the years when we let Aguero go, David Silva, Yaya Toure, Zabaleta, Joe Hart, Vincent Kompany, all these players are legends for the club. We let them go. And at the time, you always get 50-50. Some people say it's the right time. Some people say it's the wrong time. I don't think it's ever the right time. I just think from a business point of view and from a club point of view, thank God we don't have to make the decisions, because we make the decisions with our heart, not with our head. And I feel like the club make it with the head. So you've just got to back the club, because their track record of making these decisions has been okay. It's been good. So we don't want to see De Bruyne leave. We don't want to see Ilkay leave. We don't want to see Edison leave. But if they do, then we've just got to thank them for what they've done for the club and move forward and hope this new generation of City players comes in can be better than them.
Yeah, I don't know if Martin, you have the next question probably, but thank you, Steve. Thank you.
No problem, mate.
Yeah, my next question is actually going a little bit up and down forth with Nikolaj's last question about the new possible transfers, because we have been the last, 2 seasons, been linked up with both Florian Wirtz, we have been linked up with Jamal Musiala, and some of the good German players. And now we just bought Mamouche. Do you think that can be a problem, signing those new players, if we don't sell, for example, De Bruyne?
Yeah, I feel like with the 3 players that have come in, 4 if you include Echeverri, who's away with Argentina, I think they're very young and it adds legs and depth to the squad, which is a good sign for me that Pep Guardiola's gone young, because it looks like he wants a bit of time to work with these players. But I do feel like the summer window will be massive. I do feel like the Wirtz Musiala links were going to come back, and I can see us getting one of them. I do believe that City will need a quality midfielder. If a Kevin De Bruyne is leaving, we're going to need a player like that to step in. But Mamouche, we saw him yesterday briefly. He looked very, very lively, very, very good. He's had a great season in Germany, and I think City will get it right. They will do. I think there's going to be a big, big summer for outgoings, but also for incomings as well. I feel like we've got to start making a statement now. And Haaland signing a contract for 10 years shows the commitment to the club that he's made. So I think we need to build around him now. We've got the main man, the superstar, signed and locked in and sealed for 10 years. Let's start building a team around this guy and getting back to them trophy wins.
Martin, I'll just, before you have another question, this has also been a rumor about the 115 charges, that maybe it's not so bad because now the hearing is over and the, I don't know how you say it, but the commission, they are gonna give a penalty. But now Manchester City have been to the hearing, they know what it's about, they can see how did we do, and now they're really pushing with the buying new players, giving a big contract to Haaland, and Guardiola also got a contract extension. So how do you see, can there be something about the 115 maybe?
Yeah, well, maybe. Well, if I'm Mamouche's agent, the first question I'm asking when I'm going in the room is what's going on with these charges? Have my client got anything to worry about? And surely them questions have been asked. So yeah, if we were all of a sudden not buying anyone and it was getting a bit, why we need someone, why aren't we buying? Then the conspiracy theorists will be out again saying, oh, it's because you're getting relegated, this, that, and the other. So it's a good sign that we're buying. I mean, you have to look at the redevelopment of the stadium yesterday. Every time I go, it looks fantastic. You know, the commitment from the club to putting into the infrastructure of the stadium and the match day experience is unreal. And yeah, so for me, outside looking in, you would think that is a positive sign that the club is spending money and building and not being affected by what possibly could go wrong. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and you have definitely right, Steve. Sorry, Martin, I broke in. You can see the contract is the young people. If you hear outstanding, this to tell about the area is finished for Manchester City, but because Kevin De Bruyne's age and the other ages too for the other players, but we have a lot of young people, players in our team. And a lot of people was worried too about Yaya Touré that did the time he leave and David Silva and what happened. Gündoğan and Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri make us the Champions League champions. So after the transfer politics they have, for me, outstand, I think the charges is not gonna be a problem for us. That is my feeling.
No, I agree. There's definitely something to it. I feel like the Premier League have bitten off a little bit more than I think they can deal with. And I feel like maybe Manchester City and the Premier League are trying to come up with a way that both come out of this looking okay. You know, whether be fines or something, I don't know. But, you know, because the worst thing that could happen to City for me, it would be a transfer ban, because we know that the squad needs freshening up. So if they said, we're going to ban you for 4 or 5 transfer windows, and we had to cope with this team for 4 or 5 windows, that would hurt the club more, because I don't think they get in the Champions League, and I feel like we'd be running on empty. So if they said to Manchester City, we're going to fine you £100 million, I don't think that'd be a problem. You know what I mean? Money, no issue. But transfer bans, I think, is what will hurt teams more in the long run.
Do you think it will be happy? The transfer banks?
I don't think we'd be happy with transfer bans at the minute, because we need players. But
do you think it's going to be happening?
Oh, do you think it will happen? No, I don't. I feel like that would be bad for us, but I don't think that will happen, because, you know, I feel like the Premier League, I think the Premier League have got it wrong with these financial fair play charges. That the Premier League now used to be the best league in the world, where the best talent used to come and play, and now you're losing players to Saudi Arabia because of the money. You got teams like Newcastle, Aston Villa, who are having good seasons, but then they have to sell players to balance the books. It's wrong. Transfer deadline day in the UK used to be a great day where you'd have the day off work, you'd sit in front of the TV, you'd be watching people all around the training grounds and different transfers. Now it's fucking boring. There's nobody signing anybody. Everyone's sat there. There's no one signing anyone. It's gone. So they've not only killed the league, they've killed the transfer deadline day. They've killed everything that was fun about football. They've killed it for financials. So we find ourselves now as football fans, we're going on shows talking about financial fair play and not how good the certain players are, or what transfers are coming in, or this young player, that young player. And to me, that's not football, you know. But the Premier League have made this situation, nobody else. You know, you look at Manchester City, we've got to get our turnover up, because the financial fair play is based on turnover. So we have to increase our turnover to spend money. So, you know, when they're charging £60, £70 for Manchester City against Burnley, or Manchester City against Leicester, people are going crazy. Blame the Premier League, because they need your turnover up. If there was no FFP, Sheikh Mansour would make that game £10 for children. No problem. You don't need the money. £10 for kids. FA Cup, £1 for children. No problem. Now, can't do it. Got to be turnover based. The match day figures, Manchester City were based in the north. So the match day revenue of Manchester City is lower than Arsenal in the south. So you buy a pint of beer in Manchester, it's £5. You buy a pint of beer in London, it's £10. You buy a pie in Manchester, it's £2. You buy one in London, it's £8. You buy a ticket at the Etihad, it's £50. You buy a ticket at Arsenal, it's £120. Instantly, the southern clubs' turnover match days double the north clubs. So this is why it's flawed, you know. So this is why Manchester City are building the hotel. They're building the shopping centre, the stadium tour, because they want the match day revenue to increase. So instead of you going to the stadium at 2 p.m., having 1 hour, one drink, watch the game, one drink home, you go there 9 a.m., you take the children, you go for restaurant, food, museum, you're spending 70, 80, 90 pounds, scarves, thing. That's what they're doing. So that is how we're increasing it. But the Premier League have caused this problem. It's all about the money. It's all about the money.
Yeah, and Steve, my last question is actually about what we have talked a little about, the age of the team. Do you think the age of the team we have right now is the biggest problem we have, or is it something more deep than that? Because we just played against Chelsea yesterday, and there was 3.5 years in total difference of the whole teams. That's pretty much for, I know Chelsea is a young team, but also with Brentford, for example, there's 3 years of difference where we have a higher age than all the other teams. Is that the biggest problem we have, or is it deeper than that?
Yeah, I think it's the legs on certain players. I feel like the Premier League teams are getting younger and fitter, more physical, mobile. We're seeing a lot of pace coming back into the league. And I feel like we've got to go with the times. You've got to have experience, because when you get to the later stages of Champions League and cup competitions and trying to win the league, the experienced players, as we've seen in the documentaries, the treble and the four, you see the experienced players saying things in the dressing room, getting people over the line. But you've got to find that balance between experience and youth. And you've got to find that balance between experience and energy. You know what I mean? And at the minute, yeah, on paper, looking at a few of the players, we are getting towards that upper end of the scale. But obviously, Mamouche, Reyes, Cousinov, Echeverri coming in, all very young. That's giving us a big boost. We've got McAtee, O'Reilly, etc. coming through as well. So I think we're going to be all right. I don't think it's a big problem just yet, but it depends at the end of the season how Pep decides to sweep a few players out and bring some new blood in.
We have some question from the supporter members, and one of them is Amir Keshan, and he wants to ask you, what is the best away experience you have in the league, and what was the worst one in the Premier League?
The best away game in the Premier League for me was when we beat Man United 6-1 at Old Trafford. So for obvious
We have
reasons,
talked about it in the airport with me and Bjørn. We say why we don't take the match of the away. But yeah, I love it. 6-1, yeah.
Yeah, it was a brilliant day, and another crazy day where we meet early in the pub. We read the paper. Balotelli set his house on fire night before with fireworks. Has to stay in a hotel. All the guys were like, Mario's crazy. We're going to go there today. And, you know, we were both undefeated at the time. And we absolutely destroyed them. And it was fantastic. By the time the 6th goal went in, there was nobody left in the stadium. Only us. You know, they'd all gone home. So that was probably the best. The worst is pretty... I don't know. The worst place for me for the Premier League for City is Anfield, because we never seem to do anything great there. So we always go there. You listen to the shit. You'll never walk alone for 10 minutes. And then, it is what it is. It's Anfield, you know what I mean? But we never sort of win there. So it's never a good experience for me at Anfield because of that. And other than that, you've got ground. Worst away experience for ground is like Goodison Park's a shithole. Everton, the away end at Everton, you can't see a thing. It's wooden. It's crap. Your back row, you can't see. It's just the experience of Goodison's not good. But they're moving into a fantastic new stadium soon, so that'll be over with. But yeah, worst for me, Anfield, never do well. Always a bad day. And the best, obviously, is when you win at Old Trafford. But when you win at 6-1 at Old Trafford, it's glorious.
Can I just add? So the worst, like ground fan experience wise, is Goodison Park. But what is like the best where you feel, wow, it's some good facilities for the away supporters?
Tottenham's good. The stadium's unbelievable. Probably the best in the country. The bars and getting to the ground can be a bit shit, but the bars and that, and the way the stadium's set out, it's a beautiful stadium. So if you want a nice experience where you're going to watch the game and there's no restrictions, and you know, it's Tottenham. I think that's what I would recommend. But and the old grounds like Villa Park. It's always good to go Villa Park. I like Villa Park. Arsenal's not bad. The Emirates is good stadium. The West Ham stadium is poor, very poor. It's not a football stadium. It's grim, mate. It's like an Olympic stadium. You're miles away from the pit. The stand is broken into two sections, so the top half is singing one song, the bottom half singing another song. It's just not. No, it's not good. I wouldn't be going there if I were you guys. I wouldn't be choosing West Ham. But other than that, most Premier League stadiums are okay. You know, Brentford the other night, it's only small. Good little ground, you know what I mean? Good little club, decent. Portman Road last week was wild. Old school stadium. We was in the rafters. We had restricted view seats, so there was like pillars and iron girders all in the way. You're in the middle of them all, trying to watch the game in the roof. So that's a bit mad, but yeah, that's it really. That's what I'd say. Worst, Anfield, because we get beat, and the best, Old Trafford 6-1.
Thank you for your answer. We have 4 questions. I hope it's fine with you, but I'll take one more, and after that, Nikolaj and Martin take one. We have a Philip Bjervang. What does a good City fan like Steve think about City fans' culture inside and out around the stadium on the match day, compared to the other clubs in Manchester, but also compared to countries like Germany and Denmark? It's because he know you are in Copenhagen for see the Champions League match, but also because we know you have been in Germany for the Champions League match. So what do you think about the fan culture?
What in the different countries?
Yeah, he definitely asked about German and Denmark.
Oh yeah,
What do
no,
you
I
think
thought
about? He asked
no, I
two
thought
things about the fan culture in Manchester City compared to the other clubs in England, and he asked, "What do you think about the culture, fan culture in German and Denmark?"
yeah. Well, I was very impressed with the fans in Copenhagen. Especially the Copenhagen fans. I felt like they were super loud and they got behind the team from day one, it was good. You know what I mean? You different cultures in different countries. It's crazy because you get a lot of people in these countries that love English football and want to come to see the English culture. But when you look at the English culture, there's no flares, there's no pyros, there's no banners, there's nothing like this because they don't like that in England. The clubs don't encourage it, the police don't like it. So we're like got our hands tied. So we look at you guys in Denmark creating the big tifos and the drums and stuff. But then if you was to bring a drum into English football, the guy who got the drum, someone would smash it over his head and throw him out. So it's crazy. Like, so the English culture, I think the fans are very raw and very emotional, and it's charged with alcohol and bare emotion on the game. You know, they're on top of the players. And I feel like when you're abroad, it's all about getting behind the team from early kickoff and having the displays and the drums going non-stop and the 90 minutes and that. And it's different that way. But I enjoy it. I respect every culture that I've been across, and every country we go to. You know, we've always been made to feel welcome. You know, we went to Paris in the week, and the supporters club at Paris, they put the pub on for us. They opened it up. The city brought the trophies down. Ali Benabi had turned up. We had a Manchester DJ on, and we did our own thing. In Copenhagen, we had the big pub with the guy with the guitar playing the City songs. All the City fans were together. And in Germany, Germany's one of my favourite places watching football because I feel like the police, they treat you with respect. They put you into a pub. They know where you are. You can engage with them. What train line do we have to get on? They make sure we all get on it safe. We get off safe. And I feel like it's run really well. Whereas you go to like Spain, the police in Madrid, they'll stand there all day waiting for trouble, one bit of trouble just to get involved in trouble. Italy, the same. I feel like they do things in Italy sometimes to antagonize the supporters into being crazy, and then they've got an excuse then to use force. So if you're a well-travelled fan and you've been to all these places, you know in your head how you've got to behave with certain things. But no, I feel like, and the culture in Manchester, I feel like the City fans are quite welcoming. That they will welcome the foreign supporters into the city. I don't think you're going to get any trouble there. I feel like people will always stop and talk and have a chat where you're from, and just be grateful that you're coming to support Manchester City. So I feel like Manchester is quite welcoming as well.
I also think that I really like the culture in England, because in Denmark we have the drums. There is a song all the time, which is nice for the atmosphere. But in England, it's much more emotional. What happens on the pitch is what you reflect on. Yeah, so Kevin De Bruyne has a corner. Oh, Kevin De Bruyne. Holland
Yeah.
does something nice. Haaland.
Yeah.
You don't see that in Denmark, because there's always a song.
Yeah.
So I really like the connection you have to what is happening on the field in England.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. That's the good point. It's a good point.
Steve, Philip, I know he asked about what do you think about the other clubs' fan culture. I think that's one of his mean. Who would you think is the best fan culture in Manchester? In England, sorry.
Oh well, I mean, Liverpool have got a good set of fans that they always bring a good atmosphere at the Kop, like at Anfield. You know what I mean? They're a bit more continental style with the song all the way through the game, the flags, the banners, etc. But I've been on
Mhm.
Anfield. I'll tell you the truth. I've been to Anfield and it's been shite. Like 10 minutes of singing, finish. I've been on
Yeah.
Anfield when it's been very, very scary, where 1 minute you feel like you're in control, the next thing Anfield will flip upside down, and then boom, the place has gone crazy, the team are going mad, and then you're dead. So I feel Liverpool are good. They always get a lot of credit. Newcastle fans, the Geordies, you go to Newcastle, always loud, big men, bald men with painted bellies and painted heads and stuff, Newcastle crazy. But I think in England, you've got a lot of individual clubs do their own thing. That's what makes us unique and different. I don't think anyone's trying to copy each other or trying to outdo each other. I feel like we just, get behind our team. Crystal Palace have a little ultra section, quite noisy, quite loud. Arsenal tried it with these fucking idiots behind the net that it didn't really do much. It just looked a bit pathetic. But with City, we always travel well away. Our away support is one of the best in the country. People can slag the home fans all they want. The Etihad this, the Etihad that, whatever. We know that on the when the Etihad needs to rise, it will rise. But the away support, whether we're Ipswich, Paris, or Istanbul, the away end is
Copenhagen.
always
Yeah.
consistently good.
True, because you mentioned Copenhagen, I was there in a way, and the Copenhagen fans was loud a lot, but we loud too, and that was beautiful to see.
It's good.
Yeah, Steve. And then we have a question from one of our new subs called Andreas Krabbe, who's first of all, think it's cool you are here, and he would like to ask you a little bit of personal question about your biggest moment for as you as a supporter for City.
I feel like the Aguero moment we touched on was the best, whereas for as a fan experience to see it. But Istanbul, it'd been a long season, 68 games, home, away. And to win the European Cup in Istanbul, it was like a relief. It wasn't like the Aguero moment where it was sheer wild. It was just a relief. So when the final whistle went, we had a moment. The City fans were singing "We Are the Champions," and somebody filmed me, and you can see on my face that I'm so happy, like inside, that the journey is from being a child had gone full circle all the way around to now being 43 years old and watching Manchester City lift the European Cup. So that for me was the greatest moment for me. The nerves before the derby in the FA Cup the week before, knowing that they could stop the treble, then knowing we had a European Cup final the week after, all this building up was crazy. And then to win the league, then to win the İlkay Gundogan FA Cup, to fly out on the Monday straight to Istanbul, to win the Champions League. and then to fly back and go to the party with the players. I've heard in Haaland, and then the players pull me into the private party to have the medals around my neck, to be having my picture with Pep, and Ilkay Gundogan coming over talking to me, know my name. The players talking to me about things I'd done in the season. When I went to Arsenal, I say there's a big blue shark in the water. You know, you be careful and stuff. All these little things that we did for a bit of a joke, and the players know about it, was fantastic. So the treble winning season will never be beaten for me. But that was my greatest moment, to stand there. When my uncle came with us to Istanbul. When we was a child, my uncle used to drive us all around in a van as kids, all around the country watching Manchester City. Loads of kids. We were high as on chocolate bars and Coca-Cola in the back of his van, going mad. And this guy drive us all over the country, no problem, take us to watch Man City. So we take him to Istanbul with us, and we won the Champions League. And I looked down when Gundogan lifted the cup, and he was crying his eyes out like a baby, but he deserved it, because he took all these kids around England in the second division when nobody wanted to. My uncle took us, no money, get us in the van, take us all around the country watching Man City. So that European Cup that night was for him, and what he did for us as kids.
That's beautiful. I have the last question. It's a kind of long question, so it's good you're sitting down, Steve. It's from Morten Andersen. He's a long-time City fan in Denmark, one of the old guard, if I have to say that. But here's the question. Big Steve has had to defend everything under the sun on several occasions, and he does it well. It's everything from amount the money spent to the accusations against us. Here in Denmark, it's almost a rule that you have to explain and defend why you're a City fan. I personally feel pretty good about it, but I'd love to hear from him what his experience is in that regard. I mean, isn't he tired of it by now? Doesn't he just wish he could be a fan without having to justify it, everything around to be a City fan always?
Yeah, he's right. He is. And I mean, there's a lot of media work I turned down, because when I ask what the nature of the show is, if it's around 115 charges, then I'm not interested in doing it, because I'm not going to put myself on national TV to have people throw stones at me about a subject I don't understand. So I do think it's sad. I do feel like we covered it before, that a lot of people would rather talk about finances than the actual football. And as a Manchester City fan, yeah, people, you have to justify it. I'm okay, because they know I'm an old school fan, so I don't get it too much. There's a lot of respect there. You know, win, lose or draw, I've seen it all. It's more probably the newer fans that are younger who get it, because they're like, oh, you've only chose Man City because of this, you've only chose Man City because of that. What I would say is, it's jealousy. It's jealousy. That is all it is. It's jealousy. And the fact that you guys and the new fans are experiencing things that they can only dream about. So just, if anyone goes down that road, just laugh. You know what I mean? Just laugh, because you don't have to prove yourself to nobody. You know, it's not your fault your football team is finally good. You've got to be proud of it. You don't have to explain it to anyone. You know what I mean? And this thing about, oh, nobody cares about Manchester City. Let me assure you, everybody cares about Manchester City. Everybody cares about Manchester City. If I do a TikTok, there's hundreds of people on there telling me they don't care about Man City. But the fact is, they came on my TikTok to tell me that they don't care, which clearly shows they care. And, you know, it's easy to say, oh, yeah, we don't care if Manchester City win because it's Man City and all that. It's embarrassing, because they do care. You only have to see us now, we're losing, because they're all on top of us, piling on. If they didn't care, why are they bothered that we're losing? We should just be irrelevant, right? But I feel like us as Manchester City fans, we're in our own bubble. We've got our own unique community, and we've got a good online fan base and presence, and we stick together. And I feel like as long as we're all together, as long as we're all enjoying the football, backing the club, promoting the club in a positive light, and trying to be the best supporters we can, I don't care what anyone else says. I don't care what anyone else says. Keep doing your thing. You don't got nothing to prove to nobody. Keep getting the guys together. Keep coming to Manchester, supporting Manchester City Football Club. Keep doing your podcast, defending the club. Keep spreading the gospel, getting more young kids involved, bringing them on board to this Man City team, getting them involved in the family and the community, and just keep doing that. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. because I can tell you one thing for certain: they wish they was us. Simple as that. They wish there was us. There's no better journey in English football than our journey. Facts. And the fact that they haven't gone on it, they've had to sit there and watch it, that's where it hurts them. That's where it hurts them.
Perfect and beautiful answer, man. Perfect. I believe that was the question, Bjørn. I don't know what is next.
I actually think that that was the perfect ending for our episode here, and a lot of questions for you, Big Steve. I hope it was okay. We have gone 1 hour.
Fantastic. No, listen,
I
guys.
want to ask one thing.
Go on.
For I finish it good. One question. Which goal do you like? Aguero or Rodri in Istanbul?
Aguero.
Choose one. Aguero. Okay. Fair.
I can't get the Aguero one was just Rodri's was yes, but Aguero was just like unbelievable. Honestly, unbelievable.
And then we end on that note instead, which was also good. So I'll just say a big thank you for you, Big Steve, for coming on.
Anytime.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And listen, guys, anytime you want me on, just let me know. There's no problem. I've got no problem. If I've got the time, I will do it. If there's anyone in Denmark that doesn't know of me, if you go on YouTube at Big Steve MCFC, TikTok at Big Steve MCFC, and Instagram at Big Steve MCFC, you can find me there. And we just set up a new YouTube channel called We Are the South Stand.
Stand. Yeah. I like
We Are the South Stand. It's only 10 days old. But this YouTube channel is for all City fans. So if any of you guys want to come on a show, talk about Man City, spread the gospel about Denmark, your supporters club, tell us what you're doing over there, you're more than welcome to come on. We can book you guys on. We'll do a show one night. You come onto our channel and we'd love to have you guys on.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
No problem.
And I also have said on our TikTok platform that I think that everybody who wants to have a feeling of Manchester City fan culture, they should follow you, because I think you're great at showing it. So a big recommendation to everybody listening to this that go follow Big Steve. It's
appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah. And then maybe you'll get starstruck like Nikolaj next time. We went to the game at Wembley against Chelsea last year, and we saw you at the torch, and Nikolaj was like, "Oh, that's Big Steve," but he didn't have the nerves to come over to you and say hi.
Yeah, anytime, mate. Anytime, come over. No problem at all. It's brilliant when I see people, that support me. The people that support me are fantastic, and they help me a lot sometimes. Sometimes when the going gets a bit tough and life gets in the way and you're feeling a little bit down, you go to a game and you meet so many fantastic people that tell you that the work you're doing and the little videos you do help them out and stuff, and it makes it worth it a little bit. And so the fans help me just as much as I help them. And it's good. It's really good.
Then I'll also just say thank you, Nikolaj, for coming today.
You're welcome. Nervous?
And thank you, Martin.
My pleasure.
And thank you, Mehmet, for setting all this up. For you, then Big Steve wouldn't have come to the bank and everything, and now it turned out to be a great success.
A big pleasure. I'm really thankful that the Steven's personality is really great, man. Thank you very much, Steve.
Anytime, guys. Thank you very much.